Now we come to chapter 42, Gamani Sangyutta. Gamani means the headman, what we call the Penghulu, the village headman. At Savatthi, this is the first sutta, 42.1. These two suttas are also very interesting. 42.1 at Savatthi. Then the headman, Chanda, the wrathful, approached the Blessed One, the angry man, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said to him, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why someone here is reckoned as wrathful? And what is the cause and reason why someone here is reckoned as gentle? Maybe he asked this question because people call him the wrathful, the angry man. And the Buddha said, Here, headman, someone has not abandoned lust. Because he has not abandoned lust, other people irritate him. Being irritated by others, he manifests irritation. He is reckoned as wrathful. He has not abandoned hatred. Because he has not abandoned hatred, other people irritate him. Being irritated by others, he manifests irritation. He is reckoned as wrathful. He has not abandoned delusion. Because he has not abandoned delusion, other people irritate him. Being irritated by others, he manifests irritation. He is reckoned as wrathful. This headman is the cause and reason why someone here is reckoned as wrathful. Here, headman, someone has abandoned lust. Because he has abandoned lust, other people do not irritate him. Not being irritated by others, he does not manifest irritation. He is reckoned as gentle. He has abandoned hatred. Because he has abandoned hatred, other people do not irritate him. Not being irritated by others, he does not manifest irritation. He is reckoned as gentle. He has abandoned delusion. Because he has abandoned delusion, other people do not irritate him. Not being irritated by others, he does not manifest irritation. He is reckoned as gentle. This headman is the cause and reason why someone here is reckoned as gentle. When this was said, Chanda, the headman, said to the Blessed One, Magnificent Venerable Sir, Magnificent Venerable Sir, the Dhamma has been made clear in many ways by the Blessed One, as though he were turning upright what had been turned upside down, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see forms. I go for refuge to the Blessed One, and to the Dhamma, and to the Bhikkhu Sangha. From today, let the Blessed One remember me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge for life. So here the Buddha says that a person, if he has lust, hatred and delusion, so because of these unwholesome states, he irritates other people, and so other people irritate him in return. So when other people irritate him in return, he becomes angry. That's why he's called wrathful, angry person. Whereas another person, if he has abandoned lust, hatred and delusion, then he does not irritate others. And other people not being irritated by him will not irritate him back. So he does not get angry. So because of that, he's called a gentle person. The next sutta is quite a well-known sutta, 42.2. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Then Talaputta, the troop headman, approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said to him, Venerable Sir, I have heard it said among actors of old, in the lineage of teachers, if an actor in the theatre or the arena entertains and amuses people by truth and lies, then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of the laughing devas. What does the Blessed One say about that? And Buddha said, Enough, headman, let it be. Don't ask me that. The second and the third time, Talaputta, the troop headman, said to the Buddha, Venerable Sir, I have heard it said among actors of old, in the lineage of teachers, if an actor in the theatre or the arena entertains and amuses people by truth and lies, then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of the laughing devas. What does the Blessed One say about that? Stop here for a moment. This Talaputta is the head of this show people, what we call Tai He, Wahi. They go around from village to village, putting up shows for people, and they entertain people, make people laugh and all that. So he says, people tell him, because he is the manager, he is also an actor, and he entertains people. So because makes people laugh, he says, can go to heaven, become a laughing deva. Buddha said, don't ask me, ask. But he continued to ask 3 times. Then the Buddha said, surely, headman, I am not getting through to you. When I say, enough, headman, let it be, don't ask me that. But still I will answer you. So here the Buddha said, I told you not to ask me, but you still asked me 3 times. So generally, if a person requests the Buddha 3 times, then he will yield. In the theater or arena, among beings who are not yet free from lust, who are bound by the bondage of lust, an actor entertains them with titillating things that excite them even more strongly to lust. In the theater or arena, among beings who are not yet free from hatred, who are bound by the bondage of hatred, an actor entertains them with infuriating things that excite them even more strongly to hatred. In the theater or arena, among beings who are not yet free from delusion, who are bound by the bondage of delusion, an actor entertains them with bewildering things that excite them even more strongly to delusion. Thus being intoxicated and negligent himself, having made others intoxicated and negligent, with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the hell of laughter. But should he hold such a view as this, if an actor in the theater or the arena entertains and amuses people by truth and lies, then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of the laughing devas. That is a wrong view on his part. For a person with wrong view, I say, there is one of 2 destinations, either hell or the animal realm. I'll stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is saying, an actor or an actress, he entertains people on the shows, and people with greed, hate, lust, hatred and delusion, their lust, hatred and delusion become even stronger. Then the actor or the actress will be reborn in hell, the hell of laughter. So they have to suffer in hell, and they'll be laughing and crying maybe. And this was said, Talaputta, the troop headman, cried out and burst into tears. The Blessed One said, so I did not get through to you when I said, enough, headman, let it be, don't ask me that. And he said, I am not crying, Venerable Sir, because of what the Blessed One said to me, but because I have been tricked, cheated and deceived for a long time by those actors of old in the lineage of teachers who said, if an actor in the theater or the arena entertains and amuses people by truth and lies, then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of the laughing devas. Magnificent Venerable Sir, magnificent Venerable Sir, the Dhamma has been made clear in many ways by the Blessed One, as though he were turning upright what had been turned upside down, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see forms. I go for refuge to the Blessed One, and to the Dhamma, and to the Bhikkhu Sangha. May I receive the going forth under the Blessed One, Venerable Sir. May I receive the higher ordination. Then Talaputta, the troop headman, received the going forth under the Blessed One. He received the higher ordination, and soon, not long after his higher ordination, the Venerable Talaputta became one of the Arahants. So this, when the Buddha told him that actors and actresses would be born in hell, then he started crying and told the Buddha it's not because of what the Buddha said that he's frightened or what, that he's crying, but he said he's so angry that he's been cheated by those people who misled him and told him that entertaining people you can go to heaven. So that's why he's so angry with them that he's shedding tears. So surprisingly, he, after hearing what the Buddha said, he went forth as a monk. So it can't be so simple. This is not the first time probably that he met the Buddha. He must have already met the Buddha several times and heard some Dhamma that gave him some confidence to renounced. And you can find his verses in the Theragatha, verses of the elders. There's a book called Theragatha and Therigatha. It's under the Khuddaka Nikaya, the last Nikaya. And his verses are very inspiring because he was an actor, so he can speak very well. So in those verses, he kept complaining to his mind. He was talking to his mind all the time. Mind, you asked me to go forth and go and live in the mountains among the elephants and where the birds sing and all that. Now I'm here, and then you promised me that the mind will calm down and all that. But now you still cannot calm down. Kept arguing with his mind. So for many years, his mind could not calm down for many years. But later, after struggling so hard, one day when his mind attained one-pointedness, he attained the jhanas, immediately he became an arahant. That shows actually the Dhamma foundation was already very strong. The very strong Dhamma foundation, when it attains very high jhana, you can understand. The next sutta is 42.3. Then the headman, Yoda Jiva, the machinery, approached the Blessed One. This machinery, the soldiers who fight for money, he approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said to him, Venerable Sir, I have heard it said by machineries of old in the lineage of teachers, when a machinery is one who strives and exerts himself in battle, if others slay him and finish him off while he is striving and exerting himself in battle, then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of the battle-slain devas. What does the Blessed One say about that? And the Buddha said, Enough, headman, let it be, don't ask me that. The second time and the third time, Yoda Jiva, the headman, said, Venerable Sir, I have heard it said among machineries of old, in the lineage of teachers, when a machinery is one who strives and exerts himself in battle, if others slay him and finish him off while he is striving and exerting himself in battle, then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of the battle-slain devas. What does the Blessed One say about that? And then the Buddha said, after asking 3 times, the Buddha said, Surely, headman, I am not getting through to you when I say, Enough, headman, let it be. Don't ask me that. But still, I will answer you. When headman, a machinery is one who strives and exerts himself in battle. His mind is already low, depraved, misdirected by the thought that these beings be slain, slaughtered, annihilated, destroyed or exterminated. If others then slay him and finish him off while he is striving and exerting himself in battle, then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the battle-slain hell. But should he hold such a view as this, when a machinery strives and exerts himself in battle, if others slay him and finish him off while he is striving and exerting himself in battle, then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of the battle-slain devas. That is a wrong view on his part. For a person with wrong view, I say, there is one of 2 destinations, either hell or the animal realm. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, this machinery, this soldier who fights for money, if in the battle he's fighting, he wants to kill all the enemies, then if he is killed himself, because he has hatred in his mind, then he will go down to hell. But in case he is not killed, even if he is not killed, because he has wrong view that being a machinery, if he is killed in battle, he will go to heaven. Then the Buddha says that is wrong view about karma. So that wrong view, even he is not slain in battle, when he dies, he will either go to hell or the animal realm. When this was said, Yoda Jiva, the headman, cried out and burst into tears. The Blessed One said, So I did not get through to you when I said, Enough, headman, let it be, don't ask me that. And he said, I am not crying, Venerable Sir, because of what the Blessed One said to me, but because I have been tricked, cheated and deceived for a long time by those machineries of old in the lineage of teachers who said, when a machinery is one who strives and exerts himself in battle, if others slay him and finish him off while he is striving and exerting himself in battle. Then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of the battle-slain Devas. And he said, magnificent Venerable Sir, from today let the Blessed One remember me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge for life. So here, people who fight as a soldier for money, so because they are violent, their mind is low, because they want to kill, their mind is low. So after death, they don't go to a good place. Which reminds us, we Chinese like to pray to Quan Kung. Where do you think Quan Kung has gone? 42.6. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Nalanda in Pavarika's mango grove. Then Asibandakaputta, the headman, approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said, Venerable Sir, the Brahmins of the western region, those who carry around water pots, wear garlands of water plants, immerse themselves in water, and tend the sacred fire, are said to direct a dead person upwards, to guide him along and conduct him to heaven. But the Blessed One, Arahant Sammasambuddha, is able to bring it about that with the breakup of the body after death, the entire world might be reborn in a good destination, in a heavenly world. Stop here for a moment. So this Asibandakaputta, he asked the Buddha, he said, I think he also is a Brahmin of the western region. He said, these Brahmins of the western region, they have a belief when their relative passes away, the translation given in the Pali Text Society book is, they lift him up and carry him out, call on him by name and speed him heavenwards. In other words, when the relative passes away, they quickly take out his dead body and hold it facing the sky, hold it very high facing the sky, and call out his name. Ali, you see heaven? Go to heaven, heaven is there. Something like that. So they think because this corpse is facing heaven, so his soul will naturally go to heaven. So he said, but now we have a Arahant Sammasambuddha in the world. Surely the Buddha, you can bring everybody to heaven. If the Buddha can bring you to the Pure Land, I think he also here can bring you to heaven. So see what the Buddha says about bringing you to the Pure Land. The Buddha said, well then, headman, I will question you about this. Answer as you see fit. What do you think, headman? Suppose there is a person here who destroys life, that means who takes life, takes what is not given, engages in sexual misconduct, speaks falsely, speaks divisively, speaks harshly, chatters idly, one who is covetous, full of ill will, and holds wrong view. Then a great crowd of people would come together and assemble around him, and they would send up prayers and recite praise and circumambulate him, making reverential salutations, saying, with the breakup of the body after death, may this person be reborn in a good destination, in a heavenly world. What do you think, headman? Because of the prayers of the great crowd of people, because of their praise, because they circumambulate him with making reverential salutations, would that person, with the breakup of the body after death, be reborn in a good destination, in a heavenly world? Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is saying, suppose there is a man, he breaks all the precepts. There's a lot of evil. So when he dies, people come together and pray and chant and ask him to go to heaven. Can he go to heaven? And the headman, after thinking about it, he said, no, Venerable Sir. Then the Buddha said, suppose, headman, a person would hurl a huge boulder or rock into a deep pool of water. Then a great crowd of people would come together and assemble around it, and they would send up prayers and recite praise and circumambulate it, making reverential salutations, saying, emerge, good boulder, rise up, good boulder, come up onto high ground, good boulder. What do you think, headman? Because of the prayers of the great crowd of people, because of their praise, because they circumambulate it, making reverential salutations, would that boulder emerge, rise up, and come up onto high ground? And he said, no, Venerable Sir. So too, headman, if a person is one who destroys life, who takes what is not given, who engages in sexual misconduct, who speaks falsely, speaks divisively, speaks harshly, chatters idly, one who is covetous, full of ill will and holds wrong view. Even though a great crowd of people would come together and assemble around him and pray and chant and ask him to go to heaven, still with the breakup of the body after death, that person will be reborn in a state of misery, in a bad destination, in the netherworld, in hell. Stop here for a moment. So here, it's only logical if a person does something, does all kinds of evil, that when he dies, that he will go to a woeful destination of rebirth. If after doing a lot of evil, he still goes to a good destination of rebirth, then there must be something wrong with the world. And the Buddha said, what do you think, headman? Suppose there is a person here who abstains from the destruction of life, from taking what is not given, from sexual misconduct, from false speech, from divisive speech, from harsh speech, from idle chatter, one who is not covetous, without ill will, who holds right view. Then a great crowd of people would come together and assemble around him, and they would send up prayers and recite praise and circumambulate him, making reverential salutations, saying, with the breakup of the body after death, may this person be reborn in a state of misery, in a bad destination, in the netherworld, in hell. What do you think, headman? Because of the prayers of the great crowd of people, because of their praise, because they circumambulate him, making reverential salutations, with that person, with the breakup of the body after death, be reborn in a state of misery in hell. And he said, no, Venerable Sir. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, suppose there is a very good person who does not do any evil at all. So then when he has died, a big crowd of people come and pray and chant and curse him, ask him to go to hell. Is it possible that he will go to hell? And the headman said, it's not logical that he, being a good man, can go to hell. And then the Buddha continued, suppose, headman, a man submerges a pot of ghee or a pot of oil in a deep pool of water and breaks it. Any of its shards or fragments there would sink downwards, but the ghee or oil would rise upwards. Then a great crowd of people would come together and assemble around it, and they would send up prayers and recite praise and circumambulate it, making reverential salutations, saying, sink down, good ghee or oil, settle, good ghee or oil, go downwards, good ghee or oil. What do you think, headman? Because of the prayers of the great crowd of people, because of their praise, because they circumambulated, making reverential salutations, would that ghee or oil sink down or settle or go downwards? No, Venerable Sir. So too, headman, if a person is one who abstains from the destruction of life, etc., even though a great crowd of people would come together and assemble around him, still and curse him to go to hell, even with the still with the breakup of the body after death, that person will be reborn in a good destination, in a heavenly world. And this was said. Asi Bandaka Putta, the headman, said to the Blessed One, magnificent Venerable Sir, magnificent Venerable Sir. And then he took refuge in the Buddha Dhamma and Bhikkhu Sangha. From today, let the Blessed One remember me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge for life. That's the end of the sutta. It's a sutta that teaches a very important principle. This man is asking whether the Buddha can help us go to heaven or not. So instead of directly saying no, the Buddha is saying, giving this simile. If a rock is heavy, you throw it into a pond, it will sink naturally. In spite of what you shout, you pray and all that, you cannot stop the rock from sinking because it is heavy. On the other hand, if you throw a pot of ghee or oil in the middle of the pond, suppose in the middle of the pond there happens to be a rock there, and you throw it and the pot breaks. So the pot will sink, but even though the pot sinks, the ghee or the oil would float up. So when you curse the ghee and oil, ask it to sink down, it cannot sink down because it's lighter than water, it will float up. In the same way, the Buddha is telling us very clearly that it is our karma that decides our rebirth. If we have heavy evil karma, that heavy evil karma will drag us down to the woeful pains of rebirth. No matter how other people pray, it doesn't help at all. On the other hand, if the person is a very good person, a virtuous person, his good karma will pull him up and he'll go for a good rebirth, no matter how people curse him. So nobody can influence another person's rebirth. It is entirely due to his karma. So you see, like in this Chinese Buddhism, they like to do a lot of chanting and all that. Chiu Tu and all that. According to this type of sutta, it's of no effect at all. It's your karma that decides where you're reborn. So it's important to study these earlier suttas, because nowadays there's a lot of wrong views around. 42.7. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Nalanda in Pavarika's mango grove. Then Asibandaka Putta, the head man, approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said to him, "Venerable Sir, doesn't the Blessed One dwell compassionate towards all living beings?" And the Buddha said, "Yes, headman, the Tathagata dwells compassionate towards all living beings." And he asked, "Then why is it, Venerable Sir, that the Blessed One teaches the Dhamma thoroughly to some, yet not so thoroughly to others?" Stop here for a moment. So this headman is saying, if the Buddha, you are compassionate towards all beings, why you discriminate? To some people you teach a lot of Dhamma, to some people you teach so little Dhamma. And the Buddha said, "Well then, headman, I will question you about this. Answer as you see fit. What do you think, headman? Suppose a farmer here had 3 fields, one excellent field, one of middling quality, and one inferior, rough, salty, with bad ground. What do you think, headman? If that farmer wishes to sow seeds, where would he sow it first? In the excellent field, in the field of middling quality, or in the field that was inferior, the one that was rough, salty, and with bad ground?" And the headman said, "If, Venerable Sir, that farmer wishes to sow seed, he would sow it in the excellent field. Having sown seed there, he would next sow seed in the field of middling quality. Having sown seed there, he might or might not sow seed in the field that was inferior, the one that was rough, salty, with bad ground. For what reason? Because at least it can be used as fodder for the cattle." Stop here for a moment. So if a farmer wishes to sow his seeds so that he can sprout, of course, naturally, he would sow it in the most fertile field, the best field. Then if he has some more left over, he would sow it in the second quality one, the middling quality one. Then if he still has some more left over, either he might sow it in the inferior ground, or he might not sow it. If he doesn't sow it on the inferior ground, at least he can feed the cattle with the seed. Because if he sows it on the inferior ground, it may be a waste of time, may not sprout at all. Then the Buddha said, "Headman, just like the field that is excellent are the monks and nuns to me. I teach them the Dhamma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end, with the right meaning and phrasing. I reveal the holy life that is perfectly complete and pure. For what reason? Because they dwell with me as their island, with me as their shelter, with me as their protector, with me as their refuge." Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is saying that the monks and the nuns are the best field for him to sow the seeds of Dhamma, because they are committed. Monks and nuns are committed to lead the holy life. However tough it is, they are willing to struggle, to give up a lot of things, to give up their attachments and all that, because they understand the value of the Dhamma. That being the case, the Buddha will teach them the most Dhamma. Also here, you see the Buddha says, "I reveal the holy life that is perfectly complete and pure." So the Buddha's teaching of the holy life is perfectly complete and pure. It is complete. There is no reason to add to it. As I mentioned before, later monks, they try to add to the Buddha's words by making the commentaries, by making the Abhidhamma, by making the Mahayana Sutras, and all that, which is not necessary. Those are what the Chinese call the Fang Pian, expedient provisional means, which is not necessary at all, because the Buddha's original teachings in the Nikayas are complete and pure. There's no need to add to it and no need to subtract from it. Then headmen, just like the field of middling quality, are the male and female lay followers to me. To them too I teach the Dhamma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end, with the right meaning and phrasing. I reveal the holy life that is perfectly complete and pure. For what reason? Because they dwell with me as their island, with me as their shelter, with me as their protector, with me as their refuge. Then headmen, just like that field that is inferior, rough, salty, with bad ground, are the ascetics, Brahmins, and wanderers of other sects to me. Yet to them too I teach the Dhamma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end, with the right meaning and phrasing. I reveal the holy life that is perfectly complete and pure. For what reason? Because if they understand even a single sentence, that will lead to their welfare and happiness for a long time. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha compares these three groups of people with the three fields. The monks, the Buddhist monks and nuns are the most excellent field where the Buddha will teach the most. Then the second is the lay supporters, the male and female lay followers. Since they also take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, the Buddha also teaches to them. But because they have less time, so the Buddha also teach them less. Then thirdly, the ascetics and Brahmins, those that are willing to listen, the Buddha will teach them. Not all of them will want to listen. Those that are willing to listen, the Buddha will teach, hoping that at least they will understand a bit. And some of them, after understanding a bit of the Dhamma, they convert and become disciples of the Buddha. Suppose headman, a man had 3 water pots, one without cracks, which does not let water seep through and escape. One without cracks, but which lets water seep through and escape, and one with cracks, which lets water seep through and escape. What do you think, headman? If that man wants to store water, where would he store it first? In the water pot that is without cracks, which does not let water seep through and escape, or in the water pot that is without cracks, but which lets water seep through and escape, or in the water pot that has cracks and which lets water seep through and escape? And he said, if Venerable Sir, that man wants to store water, he would store it in the water pot that is without cracks, which does not let water seep through and escape. Having stored water there, he would next store it in the water pot that is without cracks, but which lets water seep through and escape. Having stored it there, he might or might not store it in the water pot that has cracks, which lets water seep through and escape. For what reason? Because it can at least be used for washing dishes. Stop here for a moment. So if a man has these 3 types of pots, of course, first he will store it in the best water pot where it does not leak, so that the water will be kept useful whenever he wants to use it. Then if he still has a lot of water left, he will store it in the second best water pot, which although is not cracked, but allows some water to seep through. And then the third water pot, which has cracks, probably best not to keep it there, but for some reason or other he may want to keep it there, even though it seeps through slowly the water, because if he doesn't keep it there, at least he can use it for washing dishes and don't waste it by letting it leak away. Headman, just like the water pot that is without cracks, which does not let water seep through and escape, are the monks and nuns to me. I teach them the Dhamma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end, with the right meaning and phrasing. I reveal the holy life that is perfectly complete and pure. For what reason? Because they dwell with me as their island, with me as their shelter, with me as their protector, with me as their refuge. Then headman, just like the water pot that is without cracks, but which lets water seep through and escape, are the male and female lay followers to me. To them too I teach the Dhamma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end, with the right meaning and phrasing. I reveal the holy life that is perfectly complete and pure. For what reason? Because they dwell with me as their island, with me as their shelter, with me as their protector, with me as their refuge. Then headman, Just like the water pot that has cracks, which lets water seep through and escape, are the ascetics, Brahmins and wanderers of other sects to me. Yet to them too I teach the Dhamma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end. The right meaning and phrasing. I reveal the holy life that is perfectly complete and pure. For what reason? Because if they understand even a single sentence, that will lead to their welfare and happiness for a long time. When this was said, Asibandaka Putta, the headman, said to the Blessed One, Magnificent Venerable Sir, Magnificent Venerable Sir, and then he took refuge with the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. From today, let the Blessed One remember me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge for life. That's the end of the sutta. So here the Buddha explains why he doesn't teach the same amount of Dhamma to everybody. Sometimes we have to use our wisdom. If a person doesn't have the time to practice, no point to teach him so much. It's like casting pearls before swine. You have pearls or diamonds, you cast it before ox or pigs, they won't value it. So that's the end for today. Very interesting, some of these suttas.
Okay. So when you spoke on the first one, the actor is Salapuha.
Yeah.
So is the Salapuha for that is acting, is it wrong livelihood? Consider a wrong livelihood?
It depends on what type of acting, what type of show you put up. If you put up those very worldly shows like Dallas and all that, although I haven't seen, I heard some people say a bit about it. And it's not very good. You increase people's greed, hatred and delusion. You see nowadays especially, a lot of young people, they watch all these violent movies and they become very violent. And some people, they watch all kinds of shows, violent shows and all that, and then they go psycho, start killing people and all that. So a lot of these shows is not a good influence. But if maybe you act in a show that has a moral value, teach people to be good, then maybe it's different. But most of these shows, these entertainment shows, is just full of lust, hatred and delusion. So you see a lot of these entertainers, whether it's entertainers in the music field or in the movies and all that. You see when they grow old, their end is not very good. They make money, they enjoy so much, they've used up a lot of the blessings.
Is it true that people think a lot, especially if they acquire a lot of knowledge, whether working for spiritual, I like to take Ananda, Venerable Ananda as an example, because he saw so much Sutta in his mind, that probably he also doesn't have the time to practice, because he look after the Buddha and do a lot of meditation. He tends to find it difficult to settle down because the mind is moving and because there's so much, the mind is like a lot of thoughts and that all.
Not necessary. This knowledge, it depends on what knowledge. If it is worldly knowledge, then it is not beneficial. But if it is Dhamma knowledge, I think it's very beneficial because Dhamma knowledge teaches you how to contemplate the Dhamma in the right way. And like the suttas we heard about Chitta, the layman, his knowledge of the Dhamma is so good. And he can correct the senior monks. So that Dhamma knowledge to him is not a hindrance. So it's not like just like desires. The Buddha didn't say all desires are bad. The Buddha also didn't say that all attachments are bad. The Buddha said, if that type of desire gives you suffering, then it's bad for you. But if that type of desire leads you to happiness, then it's good. For example, worldly desires for worldly things are unwholesome because they end up with suffering, they give suffering. But if you desire to be liberated, desire to practice the holy life, to give up worldly pleasures and all that, and that is a good type of desire. Just like the Buddha says, indulging in pleasures. There are two types of pleasures, the Buddha said. To indulge in worldly pleasures, that is discouraged by the Buddha because it gives you happiness in the end. What we say, Thảo tìm bôi kho xin tìm hậu phú, xin tìm hậu phú. That is the worldly happiness. But the holy life is the opposite. Thảo kho bôi tì xin phú hậu tìm. Just now I was saying that these pleasures, the Buddha said there are two types of pleasures. One is worldly pleasures that you should not indulge in, which the Buddha discourages his disciples from indulging in. But the bliss of happiness, the bliss that comes from meditation, deep meditation, the Buddha says that is blameless. And in fact, he encourages his disciples to indulge in that jhanic bliss, because for the simple reason that it leads you to attain the stages of Aryahood, Sotapanna, Sakadagamin, Anagamin, and Arahanhood. So we have to differentiate between what is wholesome and what is unwholesome.
Sometimes the non-existent in a certain Dhamma topic, for example, then now that you have an obsessive mind and you stop practicing meditation, then the mind also will do research and research into that particular topic and reading all the Nikayas away. So then you have a kind of meditation practice and slowly for ways to live. So where do you start the
in the suttas, the Buddha says it is alright for a monk to teach Dhamma, but even if he teaches Dhamma, every day he has to set aside some time for meditation, to calm his mind, to tranquilize his mind. It's alright for a monk to investigate the Dhamma, to study the suttas or to repeat the suttas, but he must set aside some time every day to meditate. It's not like you set aside a few weeks or a few months. No. That is not. Every day you must do your meditation practice. Just like what we do now. We set aside 4.5 hours every day to have a group sittings. There are other times if you want to meditate on your own, fine. If you want to investigate the Dhamma on your own, fine. You want to listen to CDs, fine. But the minimum every day here is 4.5 hours group meditation. That is enough to make us progress. But of course, even investigating the Dhamma, we have to be very careful. As I mentioned in my book Liberation, studying too much is one extreme. Not studying at all the Dhamma is another extreme. So we have to take the middle path, and the middle path is to investigate only the Buddha's words in the Nikayas, in the original discourses of the Buddha in the Nikayas. Of course, if you want to investigate, for example, Abhidhamma, like I did, I spent some time, but not too much time. Spent some time, but with my foundation of the suttas, my understanding of the suttas, when I study the Abhidhamma, I can know where are the contradictions with the suttas, you see. If your foundation of the suttas is not good enough, when you study Abhidhamma, you don't know there's a lot of contradiction. Similarly, when you study Mahayana books and you compare them with the original suttas, if you have good knowledge of the original suttas in the Nikayas, straight away you will know contradictions, where there are contradictions. Because a lot of these later books like Abhidhamma, Mahayana, Visuddhimagga, commentaries and all that, they have a lot of Dhamma. But they add a bit of Dhamma, what is contrary to Dhamma. They put a bit of shit in the nice food. So if you are ignorant, you swallow the whole thing, including the shit inside. So you have to be very careful so that you know how to differentiate. So we study the other books just for comparison. But we should spend our time investigating only the original suttas in the earliest 4 Nikayas, plus the 6 books of the Khuddaka Nikaya, that I mentioned in my book, Liberation. So if we concentrate on these original words of the Buddha, we study them again and again, we'll have a very good foundation on the Dhamma. And this understanding of the Dhamma is extremely important because the Buddha says in the suttas, there are only 5 occasions when a person attains liberation. And out of these 5 occasions, 4 of them have to do with the Dhamma. So it shows that if you don't know enough Dhamma, you can never be liberated. One is when a person is listening to the Dhamma, he becomes liberated. Second, when a person is teaching the Dhamma. For example, like these few weeks, I've been teaching this Samyutta Nikaya. I have to do a lot of homework, to study, and then there are some words which are not very clear. The translation, I have to check the Pali dictionary. I have to check the original Pali text. And then I have to compare with the Pali text, society translation, and all these things. So when I prepare these suttas to teach, in the process of teaching, I also learn more Dhamma, you see. So the second time a person attains liberation is when he's teaching the Dhamma. The third time when he's repeating the Dhamma. During the Buddha's time, they repeat the suttas again and again. But nowadays, since we have it in book form, instead of repeating, we study the suttas again and again. It's the same as repeating the suttas. I keep studying them again and again. Understand more. And the fourth occasion, when he reflects on the Dhamma, having learned the Dhamma, when we are free, we reflect on it to understand it better, to see it from different angles. So 4 of these occasions, a person can become liberated, can become an arahant. Only the 5th occasion is during meditation, when he's contemplating on the samadhi nimitta, the object of the meditation. Because the object of the meditation is not the jhana itself, but when he comes out of the jhana, like the Buddha, having come out of the 4th jhana, he contemplated the 4 noble truths. So at that time, that is his samadhi nimitta, his object of concentration, is concentrated his mind contemplating that 4 noble truths, and he became enlightened. So you see, even this last moment, last one also may have to do with the Dhamma. So the Dhamma is extremely important. So the theory and the practice must go together. The theory is the studying of the suttas. The practice is sharpening our mind by practicing satipatthana, which will lead you to jhana. In the Buddha's discourses, satipatthana and jhana are not separate. Nowadays, some meditation teachers try to say that satipatthana and jhana are different, nothing to do with each other. But in the suttas, if you practice satipatthana correctly, it must lead you to the jhanas. Otherwise, you are not practicing satipatthana. You think you are practicing satipatthana. That's exactly what the suttas say.
But this for the first group, Sotapanna, the first sector is the identity, that is personal self-realization. So when the person is already achieved the Sotapanna, will he achieve also about 5 aggregates of cleaning view that you then.
When a person attains Sotapanna, he destroys the factor called Sakaya Ditti. The Sakaya Ditti, we have explained it in some suttas a few nights ago. The Sakaya Ditti means identity view. That means you identify yourself with the body and the mind, which is basically the 5 aggregates of attachment. Body, feelings, perception, volition, and consciousness, which is basically body and mind. So we see the body and the mind as I or mine, or the body and mind as being in the self, or the self as being in the body and the mind. So we associate the body and the mind with the self. That's why it's called identity view, because you identify yourself with the body and the mind. So when a person becomes a Sotapanna, he sees that the body and the mind is not the self, because it is impermanent. One day the body and the mind will disappear, will die and perish. So He does not see the body and the mind as the self, but he still has a self. And somehow that self is associated with the five khandhas. But yet it is not inside the five khandhas. So that's the difference. Because only the Arahant has eliminated the self totally. The conceit, I am, I exist, is the last thing that we have to eliminate to become an Arahant. No, he doesn't cling to that. He doesn't cling to that. He still has a self, but he does not see that the five aggregates are the self. Okay, shall we stop here for tonight?